Okay, so it happened that I will have to make a video about yet another word, and it's actually a phrase, because I'm still trying to understand what logical means, and what logical as a meaning adds to the words logical prediction and logical decision. So I have been thinking and been researching and dived into something interesting. So let's say I've dived into that an apple, when you're trying to make a prediction, you'll say the apple falls to the ground, so a banana would do the same. That if you don't know that, but you can still make a prediction, you see an apple fall down, and you take a banana and say what is it going to do. And you make a prediction, and the most logical prediction that it's going to behave the same as the fruit that you have thrown, that has been a subject to gravity, or was subjected by gravity. So the word subject comes into play again, and it seems to come from a different angle, as to subject means to be forced by some kind of rule. In this case, the rule would be gravity, universal rule, or whatever. Also, a subject in a sentence would be the object which is subjected to some kind of action, and it's getting so confusing. So I'll try to think of a good way to explain this to you. So hopefully you know what the subject, you can find a subject in the sentence. You know, for example, for a Wikipedia example, which is probably gonna stay with me forever, ice cream has appeared on a table. Sounds also like a Pokemon term. So anyways, ice cream would be the subject, and I would say it's a subject to experience. And it seems like a subject of experience exists or something, because at school we also learn subjects, like subjects of math, of biology, of physics, and all that stuff are subjects. So what is that? Are we subjected to experience by learning subjects? Oh my god, there's so many things coming up right now. And it seems the Wikipedia says that the word subject to subject is used less common. So I will change that, hopefully. Oh man, that's gotta be nice. It doesn't say anything about other words, only the verb to subject. And it's interesting because to object also has an interesting meaning that I will have to dive into in another video, and probably I'll have to even go into greater detail about subject, the word subject and subject. Oh man, that's a creepy place to be. And I have to connect these words. The whole purpose of this, like trying to find meanings of words and such, trying to define words, is trying to connect words together to have even more meaning, because it's all about, making sentences, making phrases, having phrases to have more meaning than they would usually have. Well, it's all abstract information. I can't make an example just yet. But, we use words, alright? We use words, and if we have meanings of words, we can use it for certain occasions. Okay, anyways, let's get back to subjection. subjects and logical thinking. So the conclusion that I came up with is an example popped up into my head, like everyone has a dice, and the most logical decision, here we come back to the logical decision. We already talked about the prediction. Let's say in a restaurant, a customer comes to choose some kind of stuff to eat, and you would be able to make a logical prediction out of the statistics of previous customers. So let's say that's your only second customer, and the first customer chose that kind of dish. Let's say a special kind of soup, your special soup, and you would try to predict. The most logical prediction is to say, well, this is what's going to happen because the first customer chose this. When the first customer came in, the most logical prediction would be the one that you would choose. So if you don't know, you can apply subjective information. Wow, that is pretty interesting, right? You can say that, well, I think someone will choose this, and it's more important to apply this information. Even if in the end it's going to be false, you would learn a lot more, because lies and misinformation teach more than actual truths. So let's say, what could be a great example about how you should actually, at chess or whatever, you actually want to lose. You actually want to know your weaknesses to actually get better at it. That's the only way you can go better at it, because if you win, you actually lose because you have not learned anything. And that's probably the biggest thing to learn, is actually to never lose. To never lose would mean to always get experience for doing anything, even if the outcome would be losing to somebody else or whatever. You have to have an experience. So even if you lose or win at chess, you can still have some kind of other experience rather than learning more about chess. It's more learning about how other players behave or something like that. So you can learn that as well, even when winning, but you can still have losses between that winning phase. And anyways, you would have to make predictions of what how a person is going to move, and if he moves a different way that is not in your prediction list, that would mean that you would have to add something, or you would have to change something, or by adding, okay, there's a higher percentage that somebody will do this or whatnot. So I think that's what knowledge is all about. Anyways, so I came up with a logical decision. So we talked about logical prediction examples, and now they are so different because logical prediction comes from a restaurant's owner, and the logical decision comes from the customer. So the customer would come in, and it would be most logical to make the most logical decision to what you will eat. All right, whether you want some more variety, or you have a certain need of nutrition of special type of, I don't know how it would be called right now. Let's just keep it nutrition, special type. I would call it chakra, but I don't know if anyone would understand what I'm talking about. So anyways, whether they want certain type of fruit or vegetable, whatever, to serve their needs, you know, it would be the most logical decision to serve your needs the best way. So the decision is about making the best decision. The most logical is the best one that gives the most value. So if you roll a dice, you have no decisions. You don't have decisions when you roll the dice. There is, of course, the best outcome, which is 6, but it cannot be called the most logical outcome because you cannot choose it. If you could choose an outcome, you would choose, as a kid, you would roll the dice that you actually want. If you want to cheat, you would do the most logical cheat because you're able to cheat, that is, to choose. Wow, there's so many connections I'm pointing out, but anyways, it's hard to handle. So, one thing that I wanted to talk about, which was interesting to me when I came up with it, what is a dice in the first place? Oh my god, where am I going with that? But yeah, the dice is subjected to being rolled, which is not logical action. It's the most logical way to use a dice is to roll it. So the most logical decision would be not to cheat, but to roll the dice and see what the outcome is going to be. So the most logical, how can we define the most logical decision? And the most logical prediction is a prediction which came most often, right? Or, yeah, the most often thing that occurred, or the most likely thing to occur. It's not always the thing that occurred, because when the first customer comes in, nothing have occurred yet. There were no customers before, so you can come up with your own idea what you would do as a customer. So you would create a customer in your head to do. So yeah, it's the most likely thing. You would subject your customer in your head to the same rules of reality. Man, this sounds really confusing. Anyways, yeah, the most interesting part of a dice, I came up with that the dice is subjected to a special kind of logical decision, which is rolling, and also a subject of, I came up with a idea of lockpicking. So lockpicking is a skill, right? And you cannot say that subject is a skill. Subject is some kind of skill tree or whatever. So lockpicking is a skill in a subject of locks. Can there be any more skills? Subject, key making, lock making, all that sort of stuff. I'm going to put this into my game. All of these stupid ideas that come up to me. Like there's gonna be the subject of locks. Not, maybe the subject of thieving, or I don't know. I mean, thieving would include sneaking, lockpicking, speaking with others, like that green part of skills in Skyrim pops up into my head, and I'm trying to understand which ones would be in the subject of thieving. Anyways, I guess you can call it, a subject of warrior, a subject of maging. Whatever. I'll come up with the solutions on this one. But so anyways, yeah, we dived into some interesting things. A skill is not a subject. A skill comes out of a subject, which would mean the subject is a skill tree. No, it's not a skill tree because, well, it's made of skills, but in Skyrim, a skill tree is a tree of a skill. Every skill has its own tree. So, tree of skills. It's not a skill tree, it's tree of skills. That's what subject is. So, a subject of logs. I came up with this, that as a die is subjected of being rolled, a subject is subjected of being learned. Wow, isn't that crazy? That's the only action you can do about the subject. You can learn, you can have experience, you can have more experience added into your skills, which would, increase the amount of stuff you have learned about the subject. And that's the only thing you can do about a subject. You can learn. I don't see the connection, as the dice don't have a connection to a word subjected, the subject. I'm just using them together. The dice is subjected to do something. The dice is a tool. So a subject is a tool or something. You cannot call a subject a tool. So that's the difference between dice and the subject, I guess. The subject is a tree of knowledge or whatever. As knowledge collects all the subjects, so the knowledge would be the highest point. Then comes the subject, then comes the skills and whatnot. Whoa. Okay, I'll end up with this. Maybe I'll come up with new ideas. Maybe you guys will come up with ideas. Yeah. Because that is awesome thing to do, I felt so amazing while I was thinking. It's such a good feeling to actually, take this puzzle of words and try to create your own language, which would be more efficient than current language. That is a nice thing to do, right? Because to create anything is a nice thing to do. Because I always say to myself, well, I have to have my own thing. So this is what I'm doing. So to end off, we just have to have the knowledge about logical prediction and logical decision. So logical prediction is something that is most likely to, to be the outcome. The most likely outcome. How do you say that? Well, you guys will come up with, that's your another task, is behind the creative task that you can comment anything you want. Come up with the best description. Is that a description? No, definition of logical prediction, logical decision, and the word logical. Maybe you can come up with some more phrases. So that's that. I'm ending this video right now. See you guys next time. I'm gonna be defining yin and yang pretty soon. So, goodbye.